What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Beasley. Hope you all are staying positive and alive out there. I'm coming at you guys today with a review of The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 5, Episode 10. I believe this is Episode 10. Anyways, Episode 10, Sorry Not Sorry. Ooh, y'all, the hypocrisy in this episode. Let's just get into it. So we start off this episode, we see Candace, she's cleaning up her kitchen or putting up some fine china, and she basically is recounting the events of the fight, and she's still kind of mortified about the events that took place, and she's just she's just still confused as to how her and Monique got there. Like, they were like sisters, and I just feel like them two weren't around each other that long enough to have that deep of a relationship. But you know, everybody is different. Like, chemistry is different between each person, so it is what it is. So we then go over to Monique. She's talking to her kids and Chris, expressing how tired she is. And then out of nowhere, they start to talk about the fight again. And Chris is basically still disappointed in Monique and how the fight took place. But Monique expresses that she wants to get all the girls together so she can really just speak her piece and like tell her side of the story. So she calls Karen, and then Karen extends the invitation to have all the girls over there except for Candace, because they feel like it's a little too soon for Candace and Monique to be around. So they agree, and then they get off the phone. And then we go over to Karen. We see her calling Candace, and she tells Candace that they're going to have like a little sit down with Monique, and that she's more than welcome to come. But Candace, she declines the invitation because she's just not ready to be around Monique. She just has nothing for Monique at this moment, and neither does Candace. Candace has nothing for Monique at this moment. So we see everybody get over to Karen's house. Giselle arrives with her personal security, and then we see Ashley arrive, and then she says that Monique isn't proud of her actions, but Robin then goes ahead and calls Monique a liar, because so they show a tweet saying that Monique tweeted out saying that ask and you shall receive, and Rob basically says she's not remorseful, and Monique isn't. She's not remorseful at all. Like, it was pretty apparent. Like, if you even followed both of them, I don't follow both of them, but they were in the blog so much earlier this year to where it was like, you saw Monique kind of just not really taking ownership for what happened. But at the same time, like, a lot of people were on Monique's side based on Candace's past behavior. Like, I was team Monique all the way up until this season came on. Then I looked at it and saw that Monique was kind of on some BS. But everybody was just so against Candace, like even me. Like, Candace to me last season was a titty baby. So I was immediately just took Monique's side, because like Candace had to have been the one that started that fight, because she even tried to start that fight when Monique was pregnant. So Wendy arrives, and then they talk about how, like, basically what I said, the blogs were kind of biased towards the whole entire fight, mainly painting Candace as the villain. And like I said, everybody thought Candace was the one that was like the shit starter of the whole entire fight. And then Wendy is upset mainly because it makes black women look bad. Now, Wendy, I was riding with you last week, but this week she was just doing the absolute most. Like, Wendy, you're a human being, right? Like, if somebody keeps pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, you're going to react in some form of fashion. Like, I understand that you are media trained. Like, you have to deal with all the racist people that watch Fox News, and you're a professor. You have to deal with them badass kids that you teach. But at the same time, it's like, not everybody is you. Like, not everybody has your level of self-control. And she really got on my nerves this episode. So Giselle, who's also mad because basically she's just jealous of Monique, and she was looking for any reason to be against Monique. But she's mad at the fact that also it was a stereotype perpetuating how black women shouldn't be doing this and shouldn't be doing that. And Ashley really said something poignant and really made me actually like Ashley's episode. She took up from Monique saying, do we hold our black men to this same level of accountability? Like, do we hold them to the same accord? And that's a very good question, because anytime we see black men out here hooping and hollering and fighting, we coddle them. Like, we don't hold black men accountable for their actions. We don't, because they have to face this out in the world, and they have to go out there and face that. But at the same time, a lot of these black men are spoiled by y'all. Like, you guys coddle them and then they in turn just shit on you. Like, when are black women going to learn? I'm all for black men and black women holding each other up, but at the same time, black women, you can't keep putting in more work than black men are. So Candace, we see her go to therapy, and she basically just talks about the fight. And then we see back at Karen's house, Monique shows up, and she basically says that she doesn't want to bash Candace, but she wants to talk about herself. And she then apologizes for her actions. And then Giselle's like, you know what? Well, let me just get out my phone and take notes so that I can go over every talking point that you say. Basically, she wants to find any reason to call out Monique. Like, Giselle is just nothing but a hater. Like, girl, whatever. So Monique recalls the fight, and she says that she blacked out. But the way that she recalled the fight, I was looking at her like, Monique, now you know damn well that is not what happened. She said that Candace threw the glass of wine at her, and that's what made her black out. And she basically just went ahead and pulled her hair down and smashed her head onto the table and punched her. You got the beginning wrong, Monique. You were flipping her hair. And then what you did was you pulled her hair and yanked her down, and she already had the wine glass in her hand. So when she got yanked down, the wine glass went like this and went all over her face, which it was just a coincidence that happened. But Monique, you recall the fight completely wrong. And I was actually, for once, on Robin's side because she called Monique out for not having remorse. She was leaking the story to the blogs, which I believe. Monique is good. If you have seen the way she was partying, parlaying all throughout YouTube, she was talking to every blogger before this season went on. So I definitely believe that she leaked that story to the blogs about basically how the fight went down, painting Candace as the aggressor. And then Monique says that she didn't reach out to the blogs. And then Wendy says the fight wasn't warranted and that it's, once again, setting black women back. Like, you're making us look bad. And I did not like the fact that Robin and Wendy said that she's not a good role model to her kids. Now, Robin, you know damn well with your linebacker ass, you've been in 2 altercations on this entire show. You got into it with Ashley back in, I believe, season 1 and almost fought her at her own restaurant. Granted, it was warranted because she was talking about her and Juan's lack of a relationship. And then she also got into it with Monique, and she was the aggressor with that whole entire umbrella situation. So, Robin, who are you to call anybody a bad role model? Like, are we living in the Twilight Zone? There's been a trend of the lack of accountability for most of these women on this cast. So we go back and we see Candace, and she's talking to her therapist about how Candace leaked this story to the blogs and how actually I said that wrong. Candace talking about how Monique leaked the story to the blogs and how she was facing trauma because she got a lot of backlash from basically people that are fans of the show, including myself. A lot of people just did not see it for Candace earlier this year whenever the story first hit the blogs. And then Candace also says at the fact that she does not know where their relationship went wrong because she has apologized to them multiple times. And then the therapist asks, well, do you have anything to say to Monique? And she says, I have nothing to say to her. And one thing that really I didn't like about this therapy scene was the fact that Candace said that she had no part into why they fought. Like, she had nothing that she did led Monique up to the fight, basically. You were taunting her, Candace. Now, Monique is more wrong in the situation, but you were taunting her. That whole drag me Monique thing, that's the second time you did it to her, so second time is the charm. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You got fooled, girl. Like, girl, you might, like Candace, just take the L. Like, you got your ass beat. So we go back, and then we see Ashley. She tells Monique that what she did was wrong, but how she acts moving forward is what really matters. And then Giselle basically tells Monique about all the fights that she's been in, and even recalls that whole entire umbrella fight with Robin. And then they're about to argue, and they start to argue because Monique is really just sitting there. She's not really receiving what Giselle is having to say because Giselle is just trying to be bashful. She's just trying to be as rude as possible. She has no constructive criticism. She's just really calling her out on everything she did. So Monique writes her off, and then Robin, her stud husband, calls Monique out. Like, you need to stop being condescending and like take accountability for your actions. And they start to argue, and then Karen shuts it down. And then Karen's like, look, I love you, girl, but you need to have some form of accountability. Like, how do you feel about the situation? And then Monique, and then Wendy tells Monique that she isn't remorseful. Like, she's like, looking at you right now, you're just not remorseful at all. And then Monique agrees. She's like, I'm not. Like, in this moment, I'm not remorseful. Like, I don't really feel anything bad. Like, I don't really feel any, like, remorse for what I did to Candace. Like, I'm still having a whole adrenaline rush from this whole entire fight. Like, I have not calmed down. She basically doesn't know how she feels at the moment, but she knows that she just does not feel sorry. And Wendy's like, well, are you going to apologize to her? She's like, apologize for what? Like, I'm sorry. I don't feel anything at this moment. Like, I'm just being honest with you. She's like, this is just real life and how I feel. Like, I don't have anything to say to Candace at this moment. And then Giselle, in her little Tyler Perry speech, says that, like, you know what? I just want absolutely nothing to do with you. You were just dead wrong, and you just should not, like, I just don't even want you in my presence. And then Monique's like, well, okay, girl, well, bye. And then she gets up and leaves. And I'm like, Giselle, don't nobody give a fuck about what you have to say, girl. Wendy then goes in on Monique and says the words don't hurt. Like, she's basically, I've been called the N-word, I've been called this, that, and the third, and none of it fazed me. Like, I've never been brought to the point where I'm going to fight somebody. And then Monique says that maybe she starts to cry, and she's like, you know what, I just want you guys to pray for me. I don't have remorse right now, but I just need help with this whole entire situation. Like, she doesn't know how to move forward with the situation. And she feels like she shouldn't be a part of this show anymore, basically. And then Karen's like, no, you need to be a part of this show. And then they all kind of make amends a little bit. Like, Monique sits with the baby, and she just kind of like calms down a little bit. And then the episode goes off. This is a pretty good episode. I just did not like the fact that all these girls were just so hypocritical. Like, nobody was taking accountability for what they did in the past, and they were kind of just, since Monique was the one person that actually put her hands on somebody, they just want to hold her to the damn cross. Even though I'm not Team Monique this season, I do not feel like she should be fired for this. I do not feel like that she should be, like, held to task like this. I mean, granted, if they're going to do anything, they can do what they did to Portia, which I feel like was unfair to Portia. But they could do what they did to her and basically like just demote her for like half a season, but really it's like take away her little wine glass, but she still has a wine glass, basically like she's not going anywhere. They could do that to Monique. But those are my views on the episode. I am actually really excited for the rest of the season. That mid-season trailer was absolutely lit. I cannot wait to see what set off that fight between Chris and Michael. And then I see that Ashley and Candace are going to get into it as well. So that's going to be pretty lit, y'all. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to come at you guys with some more content. Love you all, and I love us for real. Take care.